Imagine this. You're walking through a beautiful, sunlit forest with your friends. The air is fresh, the birds are singing, and everything feels perfect. You stop for a moment to admire the view, take a few photos, maybe share a laugh. You turn your back for just a few minutes, and when you look again, one of your friends is gone. Not fallen, not lagging behind. Just gone. No scream, no sound, no trace. This isn't the opening of a horror movie. This is the real, baffling story of the hiker who vanished in broad daylight. He was the kind of person you'd want on a hike. Experienced, responsible, and deeply in love with nature. This wasn't a reckless thrill-seeker pushing the limits on some dangerous, unmarked cliffside. He was a seasoned hiker who knew the trails like the back of his hand. He understood safety protocols. He knew how to read the land, and he was always prepared. He wasn't someone who got lost easily. In fact, his friends would say he was the one they relied on to lead the way. He had a family waiting for him back home, plans for the future, a life he was excited to live. There was absolutely no indication he intended to disappear. The day itself was perfect for a hike. The sky was clear, the sun was warm, and the trail was well-trodden and open. It was a popular route, not some remote, forgotten path into the deep wilderness. He was with a group of close friends, moving at a casual, relaxed pace. There was no tension, no arguments, just good company enjoying a beautiful day. They stopped at a scenic overlook. A wide-open area with a clear view for miles. They joked, they took pictures. They soaked in the moment. It was just another normal, happy memory being made, until it wasn't. For less than 5 minutes, the group was momentarily distracted. Some were adjusting their backpacks. Others were framing the perfect photo of the landscape. It was a tiny, insignificant window of time. But when they turned back to where he was standing just moments before, the spot was empty. He was gone. At first, nobody panicked. They thought it was a joke. He was probably hiding behind a tree, waiting to jump out and scare them. They started calling his name, the voices echoing in the quiet woods. "Hey, come on out! Very funny!" But the forest didn't answer. The initial laughter in their calls slowly faded, replaced by a growing unease. They started searching the immediate area, peering behind the sparse trees and large rocks. The playful mood curdled into confusion, and then into icy fear. He was nowhere. It was as if the earth had simply opened up and swallowed him whole. Within the hour, park rangers were on the scene. The search began in earnest, a methodical sweep of the area where he was last seen. Hope was still high. He was an experienced hiker. Maybe he'd taken a wrong turn or slipped and was waiting for help. But as the hours turned into days, that hope began to crumble. The search expanded, becoming one of the largest in the park's history. Professional search and rescue teams combed every inch of the terrain. Helicopters with thermal imaging cameras scanned the vast landscape from above, searching for any heat signature, any sign of life. Highly trained search dogs were brought in, dogs capable of tracking a scent for miles over the most rugged ground. And this is where the story goes from a concerning disappearance to an utterly inexplicable mystery. The search teams found nothing. Not a single piece of evidence. The dogs, after sniffing his belongings from his car, would lead handlers to the exact spot where his friends last saw him, and then they would stop. They'd become confused, circling the area, whining, unable to pick up any trail leading away from that spot. It was as if he had been lifted straight up into the sky. There were no footprints. Not his, not anyone else's. The ground wasn't disturbed. No broken twigs, no scuff marks, no signs of a struggle. It was like he had never been there at all. A ghost who left no impression on the world. Investigators were baffled. They ran through every possible scenario, and each one led to a dead end. Could he have simply gotten lost? It seemed unlikely. He was on a clear, well-marked trail in an open area. To get lost, he would have had to wander off the path, and there was no trail deviation, no footprints leading into the thicker woods. An experienced hiker like him wouldn't make such a basic mistake, especially not in such a short amount of time. What about an animal attack? The area had wildlife, but an attack, especially one that could completely remove a person in minutes, would be violent and messy. There would be signs. Blood, torn clothing, drag marks. The search teams found none of that. Not a single drop. The scene was pristine. This led investigators to the chilling possibility of foul play. Was he abducted? But again, the evidence just wasn't there. No one in the group heard anything. No screams, no sounds of a struggle. This was a popular trail on a clear day. It's hard to imagine someone could be forcibly taken in broad daylight, surrounded by friends. Without anyone noticing, there were no other witnesses. No suspicious individuals reported in the area. So what about the most personal theory? Did he choose to disappear? This is often a consideration in missing person cases. But it made no sense here. He left everything behind: his wallet, his phone, his car keys. His car was still in the parking lot at the trailhead. He had a life he loved, a family that adored him, and concrete plans for the week after the hike. All signs pointed to a man who intended to come home. Even if he had planned to walk away, how did he do it so flawlessly? How did he manage to leave no tracks, no scent, nothing for the dogs to follow? His shoes should have left a trace. The weather was clear, so his tracks wouldn't have been washed away by rain. His belongings weren't found discarded in the woods. People don't just disappear without leaving something behind. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The official search was eventually scaled back, but for his family and friends, the search never ended. They were left in a state of endless waiting, a painful limbo without answers or closure. How do you mourn someone when you don't know what happened to them? How do you move on from a ghost? For the friends who were with him that day, the guilt is a heavy, permanent shadow. They replay those 5 minutes over and over in their minds. What if they hadn't stopped? What if they hadn't looked away? What did they miss in that tiny sliver of time? This case lives and breathes in that small moment of silence, that brief instant when their attention was elsewhere. It's a constant, haunting reminder of how quickly everything can change. This story defies all logical explanation. It challenges our understanding of the world. How does a person vanish from an open trail, in clear weather, surrounded by people who care about them? Not in the dead of night, not in a chaotic storm, but in the bright, peaceful light of day. One moment he was there, a solid, living person. The next, he was a memory, an empty space against a beautiful landscape. And for all these years, the land has kept its secret. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries.